It's 3 in the morning. You're awake again. It started quietly, a small worry that crept in from the edge of sleep. Maybe it was your health, a test result you're waiting for, something the doctor said that you haven't been able to put down, or money, the calculations you keep running that never quite add up the way you need them to, or one of the children, a conversation that went wrong, a silence that has gone on too long, or perhaps nothing specific at all, just a formless dread, grey and heavy, settling on the chest, like weather. You have tried counting breaths. You have tried telling yourself to calm down. You have tried thinking it through, solving it, resolving it, deciding something, so your mind will finally let it go. And none of it has worked. The thoughts keep coming. The sleep doesn't. The Buddha understood this exact kind of night. Not as a metaphor, not as a distant philosophical problem. He sat with it. He studied it. He gave it a name. And he left us something specific. Not a philosophy, not a comfort, but a practical technique for exactly this kind of night. Let's begin. Before we go any further, I want to say something directly. If you are lying awake at night with a mind that won't be quiet, you are not weak. You are not failing at getting older. You are not doing something wrong that everyone else is doing right. You are experiencing something that is remarkably common among people in the second half of life, and something that almost no one talks about honestly. The anxious mind after 60 is not the same as the anxious mind at 30. At 30, anxiety often has a clear object, a deadline, a relationship, a career decision. There is usually something to do, something that, if done, reduces the pressure. After 60, and especially after retirement, the anxiety often changes its nature. The structure that contained it is gone. The busyness that used to drown it out is no longer there. And in the quiet, in the very quiet that you may have spent years looking forward to, the thoughts have nowhere left to hide. When the defenses are down, when the distractions are gone, when the mind, with nothing else to do, turns toward what it has been, quietly carrying all along. The Buddha would say, this is not a pathology. This is not a sign that something is broken. This is simply what an untrained mind does when it is left alone in the dark. And the operative word there is untrained, because a mind can be trained at any age, starting tonight. The Buddha had very precise language for the activity of the thinking mind. He described 2 movements. The first he called Vitakka, the initial arising of a thought. A thought appears out of nowhere, it seems. A worry, a memory, a fear. There it is. The second movement he called vicara, the mind turning the thought over, examining it, expanding it, following it. What if this? What about that? Have I considered? But what if? Vitakka and vicara together are the engine of the anxious mind. The thought arises, the mind grabs it, and the spiral begins. Here is what most people try to do. At 3 in the morning, they try to solve the problem. They think that if they can just think it through completely, reach a conclusion, make a decision, plan a response, the mind will finally be satisfied and let them sleep. It never works. And the reason it never works is something the Buddha identified precisely. Every time you engage with the anxious thought, every time you pick it up and examine it, you are feeding vicara. You are giving the spiral more material to work with, more energy, more momentum. The spiral gets stronger, not weaker. This is why counting breaths sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. When it works because the attention moves away from the thought. When it doesn't work, it's because the mind is still half engaged with the thought, while mechanically counting on the surface, spiraling underneath. The Buddha's approach was different. He did not teach us to fight the thought. He did not teach us to solve the thought. He did not teach us to suppress the thought, distract from it, or pretend it isn't there. He taught something more precise: to notice it arising without following it, to name it without feeding it, to interrupt Vitakka before vicara begins. And the specific technique he taught for this is one of the most elegant and practical tools in the entire Buddhist tradition. It is called noting, and I am going to teach it to you today. Before the technique, a story. Because the Buddha was a great teacher, and great teachers always give you the image before they give you the instruction. There was once a young monk who came to the Buddha with a problem. He said, "Master, I cannot meditate. Every time I sit, my mind runs everywhere. It goes to the past. It goes to the future. It plans things that don't need planning. It worries about things that may never happen. I tell it to stop. It doesn't stop. I try to hold it still. It fights back. I try to force it to be quiet. It becomes louder." The Buddha looked at him for a moment. Then he said, the monk thought, "I would try to catch it," he said. "I would try to hold it still." The Buddha shook his head gently. "And how long would you spend chasing a wild horse? How much of your life would you give to holding something still that was born to move?" The monk was silent. The wise farmer does not chase the horse. The wise farmer builds a field, a wide, clear field with good fences. He opens the gate. He lets the horse run, and the horse, having run and run and run, eventually comes to the center of the field and stands still. The monk asked, "And what is the field?" The field is awareness, wide enough to hold the horse, clear enough to see it, strong enough to contain it without chasing it. The wild horse is your anxious mind. At 3 in the morning, you have been chasing it trying to catch it, trying to hold it still, trying to make it stop. And every time you chase it, it runs faster. The technique I am about to teach you is how to build the field, how to become the awareness that can hold the horse without needing it to stop, how to let the mind run and watch it run until it finds its own way to stillness. Noting is one of the oldest techniques in the Vipassana tradition. It was used by the Buddha's students. It is used in monasteries today, and it can be used by you tonight, in the dark, without any equipment, without any training, starting the first time you try it. The principle is this: one quiet word, said gently, internally, without judgment, and then you let it go. The Buddha taught us 4 broad categories for noting. You don't need to be precise. You don't need to analyze. Just find the closest word and say it. If the mind is worrying, say, worrying, quietly, gently, without judgment. Worrying. If the mind is planning, say, planning, planning. If the mind is remembering, say, remembering, remembering. If the mind is imagining a fear, say, fearing, fearing. And if you are not sure what category it is, if it is just a tangle of thoughts with no clear shape, say simply, thinking, thinking. Noting works because of something very specific in how the brain functions. When you name an experience, when you put a single simple word to it, a different part of the brain activates. The part that was running the anxiety becomes quieter, not silent, not immediately, but quieter. The Buddha described this as stepping back from the thought just far enough to see it clearly. When you say worrying, you are not the worry. You are the one who noticed that worrying is happening. That is the field. That is the awareness that is wider than the thought. 3 things are important. The first, the tone matters. When you say worrying, say it gently. Not worrying again, what is wrong with me? Not, I should not be worrying. Just, worrying. The way you might note that it has started raining. Neutral, clear, without judgment. The second, you will need to note the same thought many times. The mind will return. The worry will come back. That is completely normal. Each time it returns, you note it again. Worrying. Again. Worrying. You are not failing when the thought returns. You are practicing. The third, after noting, return to the breath. Just once. One breath. Feel it move. And wait for the next thought, which will come, and which you will note again. Planning. Breath. Remembering. Breath. Worrying. Breath. You are building the field. one noted thought at a time. I want to give you something you can use tonight. A simple practice that brings everything we have discussed into one sequence. Something to do when you wake at 3 in the morning and the thoughts begin. It has 4 steps. Each step is short. Each step is within reach, even in the dark, even in the anxiety of 3 in the morning. Feel the weight of your body in the bed, the back of your head on the pillow, the hands wherever they rest. Take one breath in, let it out completely. You are here, in a bed, in a room, in a body that is safe. Right now, in this moment, nothing is wrong. The worry is about something else, something in the past or the future. But right here, right now, in this body, in this bed, you are safe. Not out loud, just silently in your mind. The pillow, the duvet, the window, the door, the wardrobe, whatever comes. 5 things. Present. Real. Here. This brief naming of the room does something important. It re-establishes the present moment as the mind's primary location. The anxious thoughts were pulling you into the future. The room pulls you back. Let them come. You are not going to fight them. You are not going to solve them. You are simply going to name them. When a worry arises, say quietly, internally, then, one breath. When a plan arises, one breath. When a fear arises, one breath. When a thought arises that you cannot name, one breath. Gently, without urgency, without needing it to stop. Just naming, breathing, naming, breathing. Building the field. One noted thought at a time. Offer yourself these words. Say them gently, as you would speak to someone you love. Say them once. Say them again if needed. And then, simply rest. Not forcing sleep. Not demanding quiet. Simply resting with whatever is there. The field is wide enough. The wise farmer does not chase the horse. He builds the field. He opens the gate. And he lets the horse run. The anxious mind is not your enemy. It is not a malfunction. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a mind that cares. Deeply, sometimes too deeply, about the people and things it holds precious. The practice I have offered you today does not ask you to stop caring. It does not ask you to become indifferent to the things that matter. It asks you to care from a wider place, to hold the worry in a field large enough that it can move without knocking everything over. But you can change your relationship to them, from chasing to witnessing, from fighting to noting, from being the horse to being the field. And if tonight is another 3 in the morning night, and it may be, I hope you will remember, you have a field now. It is wide enough, and the horse, given enough room, will always find its way to stillness. If this video has given you something useful today, I would be honored if you would subscribe to this channel. Each week, I share teachings like this one, drawn from the wisdom of the Buddha, offered for the real challenges of a human life. The next video on this channel will explore something that I know many of you carry quietly: how to make peace with your past, with the old wounds, the regrets, the things that happened that you have never quite been able to set down. The Buddha had something specific to say about this. I look forward to sharing it with you. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Walk slowly. And if tonight is difficult, build the field. Name the thoughts. Let the horse run. And rest. Namo Amitabha.